Nothing's wrong with curls. I just, anyways.
As long as you're not looking like Guy
I
Fieri,
have curls.
Right? Just as long as you don't walk out there looking like Guy Fieri.
Yo,
Welcome
that's
to
my vibe.
Diners, Drive-ins, Drives.
This fucking show is just Guy Fieri does anime Scooby-Doo.
Yes.
He was inspired by Guy Fieri. That's the shirt. Anyway, so are we starting this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was my entire point
All
of
right.
doing that, yes.
All right. Okay. Welcome to Martin Mister. My ear. Okay. Oh God. Hello, beautiful people out there in the world. I am your host, Static Dreads, once again joined by Kelz and Strange and Zog, and I just said our names because I'm not him, and that's okay. I'm getting into my role, which is adorable, lovable. Kai,
Hey,
Static.
It's cool.
Yes.
Last week I
Yes.
didn't even say our names, so.
Cool. Yeah, we are here again in Spooky Month. That's why it's dark here. This is done on purpose.
Is it?
I feel like I'm the
Yes.
brightest one here. I don't like it.
Which is so weird. Yeah. Happy Halloween. We did a
Dude,
Bleach
1
review
week
last
too
week.
late.
Go watch
1
it.
week
Yeah,
too late.
it's fine. I know, whatever. But this week we're doing something equally. No, I'm just playing. We're doing Martin Mystery, which is nowhere near as good as Bleach, but that's okay because it's Martin Mystery. And yeah, so how are you gentlemen doing today on this podcast day? Happy birthday, Naruto. Happy 30th anniversary, Yu Yu Hakusho. Happy anniversary, Strange.
Yeah.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Even though today's about Yu Yu Hakusho. And we didn't die.
Good thing we didn't die. It's always nice
Yeah.
not dying, or not. Always nice not being covered in slime all the time.
We watch different
Nickelodeon?
shows, I guess.
But
Yes,
I grew up watching
Nickelodeon.
Nickelodeon, so it was like a childhood dream to get covered in slime. It was a cult.
We were
That was
groomed. We were groomed, weren't we? not the
Aw.
good kind. I mean, I guess there's no good kind of grooming, is there? No,
No.
Taking care of your hair.
different type of podcast.
Taking care of your
Yes,
hair.
self groom,
Yeah.
but not groomed by people.
Taking care
Maybe if you're rich. Wait. Anyway, how are you guys
Well,
doing today? We're
That's
here.
it for today's episode. Thank you for watching.
We're here for some Martin Mystery, and I gotta ask you guys, how are you all introduced to this interesting show? Was it me?
You.
Okay.
Yes, it was
I
you.
actually caught a few episodes on like one of those kid networks, Fox Kids, PBS, something like that. And then
Yeah,
I found out it was being aired on Nickelodeon, which is where I caught most of it. Before realizing I prefer Totally Spies and did not give a shit.
So it's funny because us doing Martin Mystery is really just another excuse for me to talk about Totally Spies, since they are in the same universe. They're both Teletoon, which was then turned into Marathon, which was turned into something with a Z now. I should know, but that's Kel's department. He's the learned of the Ninja Turtles. I'm the Mikey of the Ninja Turtles. So
Thought I was the
get what you
biggest-
get.
I think it's
About to
still.
say, I'm pretty sure the goofball is the strange one over there.
Yeah, I was. I thought it was me.
So who am I?
It's
I don't know.
Image
Donatello.
Entertainment. Oh shit! Yeah, Ninja Turtles. You're the
Yeah.
Sasuke of the group.
I'm sorry. Like, okay. Yo, we gotta,
So I
we gotta
expect
do
him to
Ninja
run off and
Turtles this year.
disappear for like 4 years.
I'm just
Oh,
gonna
shit,
buy
that's
us
me, my bad.
bandanas and we're just gonna do Ninja Turtles this year.
Well, I'm already in red, and I know who I would get.
I'm white today.
Okay, Martin Mystery, produced
Martin
by Marathon, which is now
Yeah.
Image Entertainment Corporation.
I thought you said
Image
it was
Comics.
To which, not quite. To which Martin Mystery is really their first real production.
Really?
Yeah, they go on to do Totally Spies in 2004, but Martin Mystery kicks off in 2003, which
Yeah.
is co-produced by Marathon Media and RAI Fiction. I'll have you know about this Italian bullshit. RAI is I did a whole paper on it.
Tell us about it. I'm intrigued.
RAI is the national kind of media company, radio, television of Italia, of Italy. So RAI Fiction is kind of an offshoot of that company, which is a private company that's government owned. It's a whole thing. But that's because Martin Mystery starts its life as an Italian comic book.
Yes. Isn't that wild?
Weird.
From my understanding, it's very like Indiana Jones-esque in the way they wanted the comic to be.
Well,
Which is
the comic actually came out.
The show.
The comic actually came out before Indiana Jones, which is crazy. It was, like kind of modeled after a French guy who also inspired Indiana Jones, because I believe Indiana Jones came out in '79 or in the '80s, like the late '70s, early '80s. And
So I'm going to double check this. Martin Mystery, the comic book, first debuted edition 1 in 1982. Raiders of the Lost Ark. I'll get to you in a minute.
I want to say
it was the '70s.
Oh hell no. It was
No, not. No, I mean,
Okay.
comic.
Raiders of the Lost Ark came out in 1981. Martin Mystery came out in 1982.
Okay.
It's definitely inspired by Raiders because Raiders was a big deal.
Yeah.
I had false information on the page that I looked on. I will
Damn
be
you,
reporting it.
Wikipedia.
It wasn't Wikipedia.
Oh, well, shit.
Yeah, it'd be our own people. But
Was it the center database?
it was
God
Martin
damn it,
Mystery comic.
Paige. Then see what had happened was it predated Italy's showing of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Ah.
It was
see that.
That'll
Mystery has
do
been
it.
Solved.
That'll do it every day of the week. Now tell me, what the fuck is Martin Mystery about?
Kind of like
So
my
Martin
conversation
Mystery-
just was a clusterfuck.
Oh my gosh. Martin Mystery is a kind of episodic, run-of-the-mill or mystery show about the horror and the supernaturals of the world, such as like Bigfoot, cavemen, yetis, Loch Ness monsters, things like that, like the supernatural and eerie. And it's about this dude named Martin, his sister Diane, and their caveman friend Java, who go and they're kind of enrolled at the school where they kind of get engrossed in this secret community of like supernatural and extraterrestrial. So they go and they find out mysteries, kind of like a Scooby-Doo, Totally Spies-ish vibe. With they got an alien named Martin, or not Martin,
Billy.
Billy, yeah.
Billy.
They got an alien named Billy, and they have their own Jerry from Totally Spies. Again, this is an excuse for me to talk about Totally Spies a lot. In M.O.M, which is actually a joke because this is based off 007, where everybody calls the main agent or the head of the organization M, and it's kind of a play making fun of them how it sounds like mom when British people say it. So that's why Martin Mystery called it Mom. Also, Mom, pretty sure the reason why certain things in my life
Yeah,
are the way they are.
Rewatching it? No, rewatching it, and Mom came on. I was like, I remember. Yep.
Yeah.
Suddenly,
Well,
some
well,
nuts
just-
are some
There we go.
personal knowledge is being used here. Just like
Yeah.
dots connected.
There we go. That's it. That's the one. One of the ones right there.
Yeah, and you know, storytelling characteristic wise, we have the same vibe that we do with other basic cartoons, right? We have the girl, we have the
Yes.
cool dude, and we have the strong dude, or the big dude, more to say. Which we see, you know, this show is one of the early times in 2003,
Yeah.
where we are seeing kind of really overt influence from anime in Western animation. Of course, this coming from a collab between French and Canadian animation studios.
But this was actually animated in Japan.
They did have. I do remember them having like a.
Sorry,
Korean or
that's what you're gonna
Japanese,
say. I'm so sorry.
animation studio.
Sorry. My bad.
Who, motherfucker? Who in Japan animated? You gonna bring these facts correct. Who animated this? This is like that fucking Scooby-Doo shit where we were like, oh my god, that's why this Scooby-Doo direct-to-DVD movie run looks so good.
Yeah. I mean, do you have the studio, or do you want me to say the studio?
Of course I don't have the studio. You're the one who brought
That's
the
why
fact.
he
Anyways,
asked.
while you're looking this up, I'll continue down this tirade.
Cool.
So this is one of the really early times we see overt reference visually and colloquially to anime with the mannerisms and the character designs and all of this in a Western cartoon. Much in the same way we see with Gendy Tartakovsky's Bionic Titan. The same, a team of 3 main characters, the girl, the cool one, and the big one. Except this is, 10 years apart. And that really plays a factor into the storytelling and the character development we see. This is very... At least for episode 1, fair play. I haven't watched a lot of the 70 episodes that the show goes through over 3 seasons. At least for the first episode, it's just kind of 2D and it's a cartoon. I'm not the demographic. Academic me is not the demographic for this show. That's all I'm saying.
Huh.
Yeah.
I did notice a lot of oh. Wow, I mean, it is enjoyable. A lot of kind of beat by beat, opening starts of the inciting or it came from the bog or space or the beyond the portals. They do the whole spooky 80s kind of
that Goosebumps
which I
kind of
like.
vibe.
Yeah, the Goosebumps vibe.
It was a Tatsunoko production.
Ooh.
Thank you. I knew it started with a T.
Hey.
Tatsunoko.
Yeah.
Respectable.
I'm glad you recognize it because I do not. I'm gotta look up and see what the
Fun fact: the only reason I know of Tatsunoko, because I have a fighting game on the Wii that is Tatsunoko versus Capcom, so I had to look into it. Funnily, also enough, my late stepfather actually recognized some of the characters because he grew up watching that.
Who was Martin Mystery in the fighting game?
No, it was a bunch of Tatsunoko characters. That would have been cool if Martin Mystery was in there.
Well,
That
no,
would have been the wildest thing
Tatsunoko.
for me.
They've been
Tatsunoko
making
did a bunch of
since
stuff.
The 60s. Damn.
Yes.
Okay.
Most notably for Tatsunoko being Gatchaman.
Gatchaman,
and,
Yatterman, Cashern. What else?
Infinite
Sorry, I'm just rattling
T-Force.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Wait.
They had some others that.
Did they do Evangelion?
No.
No, that was
Then why the hell did this
Gainax.
come up here? What the?
Maybe they're accredited or something. I'm not sure.
They
But-
could have had an animation person work there or something. Japan's very big about giving everybody who was involved, even if you brought coffee into the studio, a credit.
Yeah,
Well, that's
true.
that's film production in general. Everybody gets a credit, and your career is make or break on all of your credits.
I
Well-
wish I would have delivered coffee to Moana, so that'd have been dope. Coffee guy, static. I could have been the sounds guy. Anyway, but it was actually animated in Japan by that studio, Tatsunoko Studio. So that was. When you put things in your notes, make sure, this is for our viewers out there and listeners, when you put things in your notes, make sure you put your source so your co-host won't give you crap.
If you're gonna make a claim, you better come correct.
It was a
on.
fact. It wasn't a claim.
I mean,
But that's
If
what
not-
I'm saying. If you're gonna
if
state
nothing
facts, you
else-
better.
yeah, and if nothing
Yes,
else,
you're right.
How many times do we question all of that shit and just make fun of each other for it?
It's
Each other
us
You should
or
know.
me?
trying to
Yes.
transcend.
Well, how many of us just say the fact, then just leave it there?
I'm gonna just fight somebody from my One Piece poster. I know that. But so yeah,
got
Martin
it.
Mystery.
Let me ask you this question.
Yes.
Same studio as Totally Spies. Is it the same universe?
Yes.
Yes. because there's a crossover episode.
There's a whole crossover episode, just the one.
Yes.
That could only really bring back 2 of the voice actors, but yeah.
They brought back. Oh, you mean for Martin Mystery?
Yeah.
Yeah, they had Martin and M.O.M, and that was it.
That was it.
Yeah, because I think something happened with Diane's voice actor, but Java really said like 3 words. They could have put Java in that if they really wanted to.
I mean,
but yeah,
okay,
no, it was a whole crossover. It was in the 5th season of Totally Spies, which Totally Spies again coming back in 2023. Didn't know if y'all knew that.
Really?
For a 7th or 8th season.
Kids?
I mean,
well,
they haven't been kids for a while.
I think it's like the 3rd season they went off to college.
Yeah. They actually grew.
I meant like they're not doing like where the kid spies or whatever this time.
Oh, you're thinking of Awesome Spies or
that
something.
one, yeah.
No, we don't talk about that. We do not talk about that.
See,
that's
there's a reason.
That is
that
the Boruto of Totally Spies. Yeah. No, that is shame on you. Shame.
Well, damn. Okay.
It's a legit question. All right.
Okay. But no,
that's like saying that the live action Kim Possibles are canon. Like, whether they are or not, we're not touching that shit. We're not going anywhere near it.
God.
I want to know it. I want to do that for my decom. No, I'm playing. Do not, please.
Oh no, we're changing that shit.
No,
right
Looks like
now.
we
I won't watch it. I won't.
Hey, you
But,
gotta watch it. Just introduce it.
Smart mystery.
Yeah, so it exists in the same universe as Totally Spies. There was a crossover episode, which is one of my favorite episodes of, I guess, Martin Mystery / Totally Spies. I guess it would belong to Totally Spies as it aired in their lineup, and Martin Mystery was kind of over at that point. But yeah, so basically in this episode, the spies got to go check out what's going on with this Yeti thing in Switzerland and why these people are disappearing and everything. So Martin pops up, and then it's like really cool because there's a lot of different comparisons between the universe. One thing is like they talk about, Martin's watch opposed to the Totally Spies like compounder and just like how things work, and they're like, oh, well, you can do this and we need all that. And of course Clover,
you just get a random portal to your base while we get sucked through tiny ass vacuums. What the fuck?
Yeah, it's really
All
cool.
I'm saying is Martin's got a goddamn Omnitrix. Like, get the fuck out of here with this.
Yes, I was going to say I feel very much so that Ben 10 drew a lot from Martin Mystery. Like when you think about it, because Diane is basically Gwen. If you think about it,
I'm trying
to.
If you think about it,
I'm trying
Kevin.
to.
Kevin is Java. Like Alien Force Kevin is Java, man. Don't even like with a little bit of emotional depth.
I appreciate your commitment to the stick.
They both have watches.
They both have watches. Okay.
But
Things happen with the watches.
One doesn't have a
If you
slime
get it,
scanner.
cool. I don't see it.
I'm just saying. The 3-man team. The girl.
Yeah, because that's not
the
a
heavy
trope
person.
on its own.
The hero. The color green. I'm just saying. Make it make sense. Plagiarism. I'm just kidding. But no, Martin Mystery does a lot of cool things on his own. One of the cool things that you guys had touched on earlier is like I feel like Martin Mystery does horror really good for a kid show. Like it has a lot of that like, old style, but like the art and the horror. Like there were some episodes where I was legitimately like, oh my gosh, like especially during the episode where they had like the headless woman type thing. When she was like coming up the stairs. I think it wasn't the Doulahan, it was like just some woman with no head. But like maybe it was a Doulahan. I don't remember. But like that episode legitimately had me like shooketh as a child. And a 15-year-old. And I was just like, okay, so I guess I don't sleep tonight. And then there was like, because in Martin Mystery, sometimes things just happen. It's not like Totally Spies or Scooby-Doo where it's like, oh, it was the governor all along. No, there's like legitimately a giant space octopus just ripping out your soul at some point. So,
well, with this show, it's
you
very
just
much
it.
just the supernatural and the extraterrestrial is a thing. So, often they're just skipping over the explanation for any of it.
Yeah.
Ain't got time. Just got 22 minutes. Got to go.
Or
the watch
sometimes,
says move.
Yeah, the watch says we gotta go. But sometimes also they'll just be like, "Here's the inciting incident. Look, these people's minor body parts are being taken, like their teeth or their hair. You know, that was weird." And then all of it, we just drop it. They'll be fine. We gotta go solve this bigger mystery happening over here.
Gotta love it, man. Gotta love it. That's one of the things.
They're happier without those things.
Yeah, they don't need it.
Maybe. But it does have like a lot of essence of shows, like Scooby-Doo, for one. I feel like it's very Scooby-Doo and Totally Spy-esque. Compared to those two shows, how would you guys say like Martin Mystery compares? Like, what'd you say? I mean, obviously it can't be better than Scooby-Doo or Totally Spies. We all know that in our hearts. But, you know, is there anything you like more from Martin Mystery, like compared to the other shows, or like see where it gets its stuff from? Like,
it really no. Okay, for Scooby-Doo, Totally Spies, fucking Secret Saturdays, anything I can compare it to, Martin Mystery kind of feels like a watered-down version of. But it's also one of those things of, I feel like it's comparable to all these other different things because it does a little bit of all of it. So, it's unique in that way, but also copying in that way, kind of like a reboot that just can't find its own footing because it keeps drawing from other things. Okay, but this one's not a reboot, although I think it could benefit from one.
I feel like this was kind of in the market because we had so much stuff happening, like here in the U.S. Like this is like a French-Canadian like joint effort. And like when we had this, because it came out around 2003, you know, Secret Saturdays I feel like came out afterwards, correct? I'm pretty sure it did.
Yes, yeah, I think it did.
And it's by the same group as Totally Spies, so they probably knew what was happening. They probably made Totally Spies for the female demographic and just for the male demographic, if I had to assume. Granted,
I
Totally
feel like
Spies
that's fair,
totally.
But speaking as a part of the male demographic, I was drawn to Totally Spies more than I was
same.
this.
You give me Clueless with James Bond and 3 lovable personalities. Like I'm in, and I'm staying in forever.
Yeah.
So,
I think that Martin Mystery is a unique glimpse into Western animation that's not made for the U.S. market. Like, this is Japanese this is an original Italian idea that's, of course, referencing fucking Raiders of the Lost Ark, Indiana Jones, okay? That is turned into a show that is the the Japanese influence on French animation. And then we just get to see what that looks like compared to everything that the States and Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon's putting out. And it's just this interesting glimpse into what that looks like storytelling wise, because I would say absolutely I agree with both of you. Like, Totally Spies is the more unique, well-rounded idea, but even that's just fucking Charlie's Angels for kids.
Yes,
but it does it so much.
Yeah.
Targeted at children. How about that?
Thank you.
Okay.
It got me as a kid.
But, you know, Martin Mystery just is trying out new things. It's trying to, you know, be influenced by different things, and that may or may not hit depending on the market, you know.
I think it's super innovative. Sorry, go ahead, Strange.
No, you're right. No, I felt like while we rewatching it, I did feel like I'm like, there is something here. And while I am enjoying watching this, would I choose to watch it over, say, Scooby-Doo or Totally Spies if like they were on the same time? Probably not. It is a good Halloween themed show. Like, if you just wanted to like have something going on in the background for Halloween, something spooky.
Yeah.
This is perfect for that. But I feel like the comedy just isn't quite there. I think I had one chuckle rewatching it. just like the early 2000s slang just isn't really that funny anymore. Like, oh, you're totally loser dude or something. But
oh my god, we opened episode 1 with this shit, and it's all presumably fair play.
No, I know what you're talking about.
My sample size is 1. Okay.
I know what you're talking about though.
But the whole B plot of the first episode, the first episode being about the boogeyman who's a fucking tree monster that steals naughty children, right? Okay, cool. That's the A plot. Whatever. Fuck yeah. The B plot is Martin has to stay clean for an episode, and it's a bet with the girl who, that's on me. I should know her name. What's her name?
Diana.
Diana. Diana, who is
in like 2 minutes.
his stepsister.
Yep.
Life with Derek. Life with Derek.
Yep. So I know some things. But it's a bet with his stepsister that he can stay clean, and the loser has to give the caveman a foot rub.
Out.
And okay, you know, whatever. That could have gone a number of ways.
Yeah.
It went with Diana losing, excuse me. To which, at the end of episode 1, Martin rubs in her face that I was the only one who did anything, and it's like, all right, I get you 16, but I don't think that's the kind of the plot point we're getting to. Like, you're in a holy fuck. We're just going with the dude claims credit for everything, and she's mad, and that's somehow funny. And also, she loses the bet and has to, like, massage the stinky feet, and that's also somehow funny because she's a girl and didn't do anything for the episode. But that's also a crack of shit.
Yeah.
It definitely just I think the other thing I noticed while rewatching some episodes, while I guess there's no like overarching plot for the entire thing, which is fine. You can have something like that, and like there are a couple episodes that do like a part 1, part 2, and there's going to be some overall story with maybe some character development, but I think overall I don't think Martin was too likable on rewatch. Honestly, I didn't really
That's fair.
care for him. I'm like, Martin, you're kind of a jerk. Like,
Which I want to temper my criticism with. Here I am breaking down a show meant for a kid that's supposed to relate, like, doing dumb shit to his sister. Like, that's, like, the sibling rivalry. Like it's meant for a kid to relate to and not me, like, be all, feminist bullshit. Supporting the equality of not treating people like a total asshole, Yeah, man. Martin Mystery, not made for me. That's all it is.
Well, like I said, it was enjoyable on rewatch, but Martin was a little. He means well, but also he sometimes, chasing the girls.
They try to lean into that trope of just like the asshole with a heart of gold kind of thing with Martin, and it really just came off as just he's an asshole. So, yeah.
And I think like I said, looking from a modern kind of storytelling perspective, which really shouldn't, but it just kind of popped into the invasive thoughts and everything. Billy, I think, was the only one who really got some character development.
I mean,
and unfortunately, a lot of that came from listening to Martin. So, a lot of back and forth on that.
Yeah, like, turns out Billy, we learn at some point, I think end of season 1 or beginning of season 2, the very start of season 2, air quote, we learn apparently Billy is like a shape-shifting warrior alien who used to be in charge. He used to be like Space Hitler pretty much, but like he would go and absorb all the resources from planets and everything, but then one day he's like, I don't like doing this anymore, but like he turned into the small thing. That was cool. I was like, wow, I wish there was kind of more of this stuff. Like we learned about different characters and everything, but
can honestly say did not see it coming.
I know. Like, oh, the Billy he was Space Hitler, and he can actually grow like to 40 times his size or whatever.
Until that point, I really just got like Mr. Kazoo vibes off of him, like the little green alien that they threw in at one of the last seasons of the Flintstones to try and shake that up.
I remember getting a Flintstone toy, and I got Mr. Kazoo. I was like, "Who the heck is this? Why is there an alien in my Flintstones?" Like,
he's just Piccolo.
That's fine.
He's just Piccolo.
He is.
He's the villain of the first series that we don't wind up watching due to like where we encounter Dragon Ball, and we wind up with him just being, I don't know, around and doing God's work.
I will say though,
God
also
damn it, I'm mad at how good that comparison is.
I noticed if you're real kind of like, if you're like me, one of the things I really enjoyed watching when it randomly came on TV was like all the sciencey stuff they did. That part was really cool and really intriguing to me. It's like you can take the sodium glucamate and mix it with the tricycline acid, and it makes you do all that stuff.
It's peat moss and hydrogen. It's bog goo. Yes.
Yeah.
Or we got this ancient bacteria that came up from, them digging up holes in the rainforest randomly. Well, good thing there's a bunch of mold in the caves around here, because mold is like a natural, I forget what they call it. Zog, help me. What's it called?
Shit, why are you asking me? How am I supposed to...
Man's a medic, not a scientist.
Anyways, it's supposed the bacteria hates it. This oxygen...
Antimicrobial.
There you go, antimicrobial.
Okay.
This ancient bacteria that feasts off of oxygen will suffocate you.
About to say,
Can be stopped by
why
mold,
are you asking me and not the Donatello of the crew?
Yeah.
And Static, that would make you Leo.
I'll take that. He's blue.
Yeah.
And the leader, goddammit.
But Raph is the new leader. But anyways.
Don't you fucking...
Don't.
And Donnie's dead, all right? Did we come back from life yet?
Yes, he did. He got
You're
his
a robot,
own
I think.
He got his own turtle body back, too.
But it's human body.
Okay.
April, here we come.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, no, I actually have not watched Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, so that's one to get to.
It'll be on the list for sure.
Fuck is this Planet of the Apes?
I don't know, man. We just
Rise of the
now.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
But I agree with you about what you said about like the characters. I know that was like you said a whole thing about soap in between that. But I was gone to that whole thing. I was like, huh. Did y'all know? Did you know that Martin is part vampire?
What the fuck?
Yes.
He was a demon all along. This is that. This is the
remember
fucking
that
Yu Yu
episode.
Hakusho. Yu Yu Hakusho coming in. He was a
Nothing
demon
he
the whole
did before
time.
now matters. None of it is valid.
Yeah,
He was
so-
a demon the whole time.
There was one of his great ancestors was like one of the top vampires, like a whole vampire monarch.
Nosferatu?
It has no, it was like Gerard or something, Gerald
I
or
can't
something. Or
I'm gonna be honest with you. I only didn't have time to watch the whole series over again, so I just watched a few episodes here and there, and I missed all of this completely. So I'm just making jokes.
I think
nah,
it
you
was
good. No.
Season 1, right?
Was it season 1?
I think
mean,
it was.
maybe. Yeah, but
Well, like I
he
said,
was
I
a whole.
watched-
Yeah, he was a whole vampire. Which is wild that you find that out. Gerard Munging. He was in one of the episodes, The Vampire Returns, and you find out he was a vampire, and you find out that Martin has some vampire DNA in him. It's passed down because
Martin is
him and
blue.
Diana not being birth
Related?
or
Yeah.
They're-
related actually plays into this
not
episode
blood.
because they're step siblings. Yeah, not blood. So,
And one of the few where Diana and Java have to kind of save the day on their own kind of thing, which was...
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so it was really interesting finding it out that he's a vampire. And really wild too. So I really hate that they didn't do more with that. But like
there's a lot of stuff like that where it's like, yeah, again, here's like the one episode where turns out Martin's a vampire and we're never gonna bring it up again. Or here's the one episode where we bring this one guy on because he's our schoolmate, but he randomly shows up in the middle of the Amazon rainforest. I don't know if he ever came back. Yeah, he helped him out that time, but he just kind of never. I don't know if he showed back up. Or the last 2 episodes ever of like season 3, last 2 episodes of the entire thing, we did this whole plot, right? Of like a alternate organization. So like
Whoop.
Yes, it's called Whoop.
Not Whoop. It was a play on the CIA, but it was like CIM or something like that.
The FBI?
No, I don't remember the name of it, but it was like this whole.
Wasn't it CIO, Central Intelligence Organization, or something?
That's why I say it was like CIM. So it was like dealing with monsters and stuff, like the Center. Yeah. But this whole anti-Center agency was run by a rogue or an agent that left the Center. Like I said, there was this whole thing, and this whole subplot of Diana not feeling like she's good enough because of grades and everything. There was a whole thing, and Martin was like, I got an A++, haha, and you didn't, and then like it's
just more of that. Martin's better than Diane. Fuck the patriarchy.
But then Diana comes back as she's working for the enemy team now, and they're building their own super monster, and it's gonna go to the Center and beat up everybody in the Center. It was an interesting. And Diana gets mutated into like a half lizard thing. That was cool.
Okay, stop right there. I have to say this because I've already said it, but we've got to say it again. If you want that, but better, go fucking watch Symbionic Titan. Because that's everything that happened in that show. Same team, but better lore, better backstory. You get the same monster of the week bullshit with the girl turning into the goddamn like brain-eating lizard.
Except you feel for them.
Yeah, and there's like 2 opposing forces, and you're just like, the team is just trying to be aliens on a planet. Like
the 2 sibling characters feel like siblings.
The whole
they
no
feel like
ending.
Family.
Yeah, plus no ending. Yeah.
Yeah. There's still hope.
literally the
Come
series kind of ends
Discovery,
on a
please
weird,
just give him more seasons.
It ends on a weird cliffhanger of like, it was a sad, like it was an ending, but there was still more, because literally it's like, well, guess we got to go to the core now. Like, oh, what? And there's like a super analysis for everybody, and we get to see like the actual computer that runs the entire organization, and that's it.
That was dope.
It was
and also
dope. But I was like, I want to know more.
That was their last pleading, begging the audience, studios, and everyone else to give them money so that they could do more seasons.
Let me tell you a fun fact. First of all, it's the CIHL, Central Creature Intelligence Hybrid Laboratory is what it was called. Strange. And it was run by her former frenemy, Octavia, who was nowhere near as good as Mom. Mom, gang. But anyway, so here's a fun fact about Marathon.
Octomom?
Maybe. Totally Spies was literally like the only one with Marathon and like that whole coalition group. I'm talking like, like the Code Lyoko and all those other shows that came out of that same vein. Totally Spies was the only one to get like finished and brought back. Well, it got finished, but it also got brought back because it was so popular. But yeah, if that tells you anything about the popularity of Totally Spies, like Code Lyoko didn't get finished, Martin Mystery didn't get finished, some other one that I forgot about.
I thought Code Lyoko finished.
No.
Really?
No.
Oh.
We even got more Code Lyoko.
Yeah, it got a French revival as a live action drama.
We don't talk about that one.
Yeah, no.
No.
Yeah.
And that didn't even get finished.
Yeah, exactly.
They got like 5 episodes, and they were like, turn it off.
The part of it, we're
burn
just like, we don't talk about that series. We don't talk about Bruno. No.
Yes. And you were wondering why we haven't done Code Lyoko yet. It's like 4 seasons, and we don't get an ending.
Yeah. Like, maybe.
Sad.
They did.
Maybe.
They got Evolution, and I think they got a comic book continuation, but it's just in French.
Yeah,
I don't
the
know
Amazing
anything about this
Spies.
shit.
The Amazing Spies, I think, had like what, 1 season, 1 trashy
Too
season.
long of a runtime.
Yes, and it was so weird because they brought the spies back, and I think they even brought Martin back too. He showed up in Amazing Spies, I remember. Which I don't know, man. Just I don't know. But anyway, so yeah, like Martin Mystery. I think Martin Mystery was a show that was like ahead of its time and also behind. It was in the wrong era. I feel like if it came out in the 90s, it would have been widely more popular. But I also feel like if it would have came out a little bit later, it also would have been more popular. Like, I feel like it just fit into a weird time. Like, we're on the Oedipus of, like, you know, you're already competing with your own property, Totally Spies, which is blowing everything out of the water. But granted, they didn't know that it would. Fair enough. Everybody completely thought Totally Spies was going to fail, and they made it just to promote music. Fun fact. But it didn't. You had to deal with, like, Juniper Lee, which was another show in the type of vein, which was dealing with monsters and stuff.
And
which
never
was,
got an ending.
Yes, but it was also, like, more popular at the time. You had to deal with, like, Danny Phantom dealing with the paranormal. It had a lot of, like, the lane was already filled by a lot of other shows in this type of spooky, like, / supernatural vein. And Martin Mystery really didn't compare to any of those, honestly. Like, no disrespect to Martin Mystery. Like, I love Diane as a character. I thought Martin was, you know, a blank slate, but, like, M.O.M was a super cool idea. Java was a super cool idea. Like, and the monsters and mysteries they were on were actually, like, kind of spooky. And you learned a lot of cool things. Like, there was an episode where they were doing something in a volcano. And you learned the inner workings of a volcano. And how some parts of the volcano aren't hot. And I was like, what?
Yeah, no, like I said, that all that stuff was cool, and it was cool to me growing up. No, listen, no, like I appreciate.
No, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at Kelz's face. He's like, I'm gonna fact check that.
Like
later.
what Bill Nye ass shit? Like, okay, Martin.
Well, I mean, yeah,
that's
it's
kind
all
of
to do
why
with-
the show never really felt like its own thing. It just kept, like I said, it felt like it took too many influences from other things. It never really had its own identity.
But the wild thing is, like, it really didn't, because when you look at the airing time of this and the airing time of everything else, this came out either before a lot of this stuff or right as. And, like, there's so much production that has to go into a show. There's no way someone's like, oh, look at Ben 10. Do this right now. Get it out next week. Like, it had to be, like, a year or so in development. Yeah. So it was kind of wild that, like, you know, it was just, like I said, it was just a horrible luck of the draw with the timing. I felt like if it would have come out at a different time.
Stuff like this kind of, I think, comes in waves. Like, they see, like, people see that there's a need for something like this in the market, and they put it out there. Like, oh, yeah, we're going to get it. And then it's like, oh, wait, but you know,
something else is doing the same thing because
everybody else is.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same. These guys also made Totally Spies, like we have said, what?
Numerous times.
20 times in the past hour. So they had the spy thing already covered. Ooh, spooky, creepy, occult, supernatural shit. We need some mystery thing like that. That we can cover that. But yeah, out of all of the other shows you just named, this is the last one to pop in my mind when I want to watch something nostalgic and spooky, just to change things up.
Like, no disrespect to Martin Mystery, but Phil Morris shats on this show. Like, and that's about a school with just complete. Like, I think someone was stealing nachos in one episode. Like, I just.
And
like,
your chicken is dry.
Your chicken dry.
Closes the garage door.
Oh my God!
Shit.
Now it makes more goth girls. I blame my childhood. I was like, oh yeah.
My God.
I think the
Man
way
beats on with a ruler.
maybe Martin, if it came back, if it got a reboot, if maybe
It'd be
it
wild.
had
No one would watch it.
and like
Probably.
an overarching kind of subtle story, kind of like how we see with a couple of these other cartoons, or maybe just make it one big story. Maybe like, yeah, we're investigating this one thing and it leads into the next episode, but then there's something that leads into the next, or just like, all right, we finished today's mystery. Walk off camera. And there's some shady figure like, ha ha ha. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mojo.
I feel like realistically, the 2023 Totally Spies thing we're gonna get, that's gonna tell us what kind of like tone they would go with if they did a Martin Mystery revival. But I feel like if they just actually like either double down on the comedy and actually make the shit funny, or the dark, gritty mystery kind of things. Not even just gritty, just give me like the more mysterious or dark aspects. I think this show could work well. I just think it's split too much.
Yeah. So to take a step back and kind of a top-down view on where the company was at the time being, right? So they were making Martin Mystery, and then they were making Totally Spies, and these are swinging for the fences. We are trying as a company to make some shit that's gonna stick. One is super creepy shonen, that's kid-focused, and the other is Charlie's Angels shonen. Whatever. And it's just, all right, we're going to make this and see which one does better. And we're going to follow through on that. I agree. Martin Mystery just is swinging for the fences in every single direction. And we talk about the whole desire for a narrative, right? An overarching narrative. Of course, it's got to be episodic. It's got to be Monster of the Week. But like, we want some more meat. For 3 seasons, for 70 fucking episodes, I need a reason to like be here for the ride.
Seriously.
So,
you want me to throw you a bone? Give me something to chew on. Give me something to care about.
But that's very specifically the formula and DNA from Scooby-Doo.
Yes.
Scooby-Doo is just Monster of the Week, and that's its job. It's about having a fun time walking into any random episode and like getting a story, and there's no meat to it. It's just endless, give or take, for better or worse.
Yeah, it just has the benefit of being the first one to do this stuff, and to have the appeal of the animal mascot as a dog. If it wasn't like that, it would be Jabberjaw.
I mean, the animal mascot of this is a caveman, to which we can go watch other Genndy work with fucking Primal.
Yes.
And,
Primal Martin Mystery
Reminds me,
crossover
I
win.
need to catch up on that.
So good.
I wouldn't be mad at that, man. The real season, like the series finale of Primal is just like he becomes Java.
No,
I'd
he
be
wakes
here for
wakes up in Dexter's lab, leaves Dexter's lab, goes to Central. They enhance him with something. They teach
Dexter-
him or whatever.
Dexter just pipes up and goes, I started something that could use you, and just gives him to Mom. Turns out Dexter started Central.
I
whole
want to
time.
see Professor X show up. But anyway, in Strange, you're
Professor
talking
X,
about
the head
like
researcher. That's why he knows how to make the Powerpuff Girls.
you were talking about like a revival of this, like if it came back. No disrespect. I mean, I say that a lot, so there must be a lot of disrespect on the show. But the list of shows are immense before I want a revival of this. Like,
Oh, I agree.
I want
Oh,
No
number
origami.
one- Yes, even though that is a Japanese property, yes. But no, I need them. If Nickelodeon, whatever who's doing this, I need you to go and bring me Kappa Mikey before you bring me anything else, because I feel super hoed by the ending of Kappa Mikey, because that was the show. I actually even cared about the show within the show, Lily Moo, which was like a parody of Dragon Ball, which was so great. So like, That's what we need, and that's what we should totally do a podcast.
I feel this on a
at some point.
spiritual level, actually.
Yes, like do not give me Martin Mystery. Do not give me Fairly Odd Parents season 84 where Timmy's butt wishes that it was a different part of the body or something. I don't know. Like, and
Feels like an actual
honestly,
episode at
just
this point.
leave Butch Hartman alone. If Danny Phantom comes back, like the rumors say it might, give me somebody else. I don't want Butch Hartman. He's weird.
boy.
He's gonna call.
Give me that guy
He's
who
an
worked
asshole.
alongside him for season 1 and 2.
Give me
Gindi.
I was gonna.
Hey, that's really cool. Oh
Hey,
no,
if
a gritty reboot of Danny
no,
Phantom?
If you're giving me Gindi, give me Gindi. Original idea, just pure Gindi.
I would love Genndy
Danny
Tartakovsky's Danny Phantom.
Danny,
Yes,
no,
I
you
want it.
can't
I
possess
would
people
watch-
and make their heads explode.
Well, honestly, I
Watch
would
it.
watch it either way, whether I loved it or not. But
You would like it. Gindi
Probably.
for Danny Phantom. That's the new thing.
With that
Started.
said, I don't know if he would do well with Danny Phantom just because there's so much dialogue.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And Genndy is very much art house kind of adventure in creative filmmaking, for better or worse.
Yeah. The words in Primal actually freaked me out in season 2. I'm like, stop talking. Such a good series. But yeah, any final thoughts on Martin Mystery or something you want the people to know? How did you feel about it? Did you all like it? Was it even worth the time that we spent on it?
I liked it. Like I said before, early in the, if there's another show on, I probably will watch it. But if it's on, I'll give it a watch. It's entertaining enough, but overall, it's not something to like be invested in. I'm kind of bored. I'm just flipping through channels. Hey, it's Martin Mystery. I like that. I'll watch it. Oh yeah, I remember this episode. It was really cool.
honestly, I feel like if somebody was playing this in the background for like a Halloween party or something, it'd be fitting. But there's better shit to use. And unfortunately, that feeling basically carries into every situation I can imagine this being played. Not to say that it's bad or that it's a waste of time or anything. It's just when I can think of something better every time, it's hard to justify watching it.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. It's well animated.
It is.
It is unique and interesting in its art style as it tries whatever it can to be its own thing and throw everything at the wall and see what sticks, and what sticks is Totally Spies. Which I appreciate the studio.
Stuck.
I appreciate the studio, and I appreciate their kind of interpretation of weeaboo shit. But
Considering they were part of defining weeaboo shit.
Yeah, the Western impact of anime as it permeates the media. Martin Mystery, it's interesting. But man, I agree with Zog. There's just so many other things that to go back to a show like this more than once. Just I couldn't justify it. And by once I mean 23 minutes for episode 1.
I
need a palate
I
cleanser.
agree.
Put on Martin Mystery.
I agree. Ironically, my favorite character and favorite person in the show was Diane, because I think
Fuck.
and she got hoed for a lot of the series.
A lot.
Like,
of it, yeah.
A lot.
and I feel like, and I was really upset with the crossover with Totally Spies. I gotta put that in one more time, because I felt like if Diane had been there, it would have been so much better than it was. It wasn't bad. It was cool seeing Martin and Alex have a romance and him chasing Clover and Clover being like, get away from me. Then Clover switching up, but Diane would have really been a whole vibe with Sam. So
Yes, and I feel like that's actually part of the problem, is that I think me and you are on the same wavelength there. The favorite out of the Totally Spies is Sam. And since her and Diane are so alike, seeing her get shit on so often is kind of hard to get into.
Facts.
I definitely felt like if Diana had been there, the Totally Spies episode, it would they'd be like,
a lot better.
"Yo, he's so weird. What's with the haircut?" I know, right? I tell him all the time. That would be so funny. They just dunked on Martin.
Dirty Diane. Oh, anyway. So yeah, but yeah, I think that watching this contributed to something. And I'm glad that we watched it. The theme song was lit as always. In terms of like marathon doing theme songs like Kolyoko, freaking Totally Spies, and this, all very good theme songs. That was the strongest part of the show for me, was the theme song and the ending and Diane and Mom. So females for the win. Feminism is yes. I will not ever probably watch this again, but we did it for you, our viewers. If you want to see what else we did for you, I'm going to toss it to Kelz.
So can't do that outro?
He can do it.
I know he can.
Much better.
It's the only reason I showed up today, honestly.
We appreciate you.
You can catch us on all your podcatchers, Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Podcast, or YouTube as well if you prefer the video, at Content Breaker. Or Twitter, Instagram as well. Content Breaker. Gentlemen, you have stuff too.
Yes. You can find me at Static Dreads on Twitter with a Z, because I'm cool, where I will be talking about all types of anime stuff and things that happen. And yeah, take it away.
I'm gonna love how this is like all not in the direction this needs to happen.
You look for
You
me
better
on
fix.
YouTube and Twitch. Strangely entertaining. I stream on Twitch. Still kind of streaming at 9 o'clock on Tuesdays Central Time. Gonna look for a new stream schedule somewhere in here. And also follow me on Twitter at StrangelyENT. Now,
Get that shit away from me.
no, take it.
No.
Still took.
Shit. It can sit with you and wait till next week.
Oh
Where
my
we,
god.
Unfortunately missed the jacket.
It's
As
Fate,
we
the Wing
go
Saga.
back to Fate, the Wing Saga. Fate, the goddamn Wing Saga.
Fate, the Wing Saga.
Do you guys know I grow weed because I'm the plant fairy?
I could use some right now. Pass the joint. You can pass that.
You ain't wrong. These herbs will help you heal. How? Don't worry about it. Why? But yes.
Fate,